What's up, guys? Robbie Ray's here. Today we're going to be doing a short review for Twin Suns, the newest Star Wars Rebels episode. Just came on tonight. Going to have some Darth Maul gameplay from Battlefront 2 in the background because it's freaking awesome. So this is an episode that you're either going to love or hate. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be a large group of people that's super pissed off. And first of all, let me just say, spoilers incoming from this point forward. There's a group of people that's going to be extremely pissed off because the final battle between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul lasts like 2 seconds. It's not like some big epic duel or showdown. You know, you remember in Revenge of the Sith when Anakin and Obi-Wan fought, it almost got like hilarious how long that fight went on for. And they started doing every like ludicrous trick they were like swinging on vines and jump. It just went on forever. And the crazy part is they cut content out of that. Like the fight was meant to be even longer than what you saw in the movie. So this is a big step away from that. And it's kind of a connective tissue between the prequels and the original trilogy in many ways. Because, you know, you get into the original trilogy and obviously the fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader was pretty damn dull. And then you get into the fight in Episode 5. Obviously, it's a much more epic fight between Luke and Darth Vader. And by the time you reach Episode 6, you know, the action is definitely... So my point is, like, the action kind of built up, you know what I'm saying? In the prequels, it was all action from the get-go. You had the first fight between Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon, which is, like, the most stunning, like, acrobatic, like, thing you've seen in Star Wars up until that point. It was just amazing. But there wasn't a lot of feeling and emotion behind that first fight between Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and Darth Maul. And that's just kind of because, you know, these were new characters. They were kind of like, we didn't really care about them too much. I mean, you might if some people might have, but they didn't really develop them enough that you would like be invested with them. But I think everybody, when you watch The New Hope, even though the fight between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan was like short and brief, you kind of felt something just seeing Obi-Wan go down. You know what I'm saying? That was an emotional kind of moment. At least this is, and I think this is a broad kind of. This is not just my opinion, guys. This is what most people kind of have experienced in regards to these duels. So, in getting into this episode here, when they have that super short fight, they were trying to kind of be reminiscent of like samurai fights, and that like samurais, like the duels between them, like really pro samurais, are meant to be super, super brief because they're so skilled. That's kind of the logic I heard the guy talking about in the Rebels Recon show. So let's step away from the duel for a second and just talk about the episode. First of all, I think the episode was done in a very elegant, artistic way. Not talking about the duel now, just talking about the episode. I feel like it had a really good flow to it. It was just interesting to see how almost mature this episode felt. Because remember, we are dealing with a kids show here, guys. So that's their target market is a lot of kids. So it's on Disney Channel, you know, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. So when they had you know, this kind of more mature vibe to this episode, and just kind of like it was kind of interesting to see actually, because you know, obviously there is a large fan base for this series, for Clone Wars and for Rebels. That's grown people, you know, older people, and a lot of the times they kind of feel left out. They feel like this show is being completely aimed towards kids. You know, they kind of it's the first time there's really been, besides like Episode 1 with Anakin, like, you know, they did in Episode 1, in Rebels and in Star Wars The Clone Wars, they had to put an actual kid kind of main character in both of them. You had Ahsoka and you had Ezra. Why? Because they're obviously, you know, trying to give kids someone to relate to during the whole series. So that's kind of the thing, and they're kind of showing them growing up and maturing as well. So that is going on in the background of all this, guys. The main character, for all intents and purposes, in both shows was kind of meant to be a kid, as it is a kid's show. That's what Disney is kind of putting on Disney Channel and Cartoon Network for. But make no mistake, there's a massive, obviously, it's Star Wars. It's the biggest film franchise on the planet. There's a massive group of adults that love this, and just older kids in general, too. So, my point is that, basically, it's always that fine line. And this carries over into video games, this carries over into pretty much any content that comes out of these kinds of franchises. This kind of conundrum of the kids market and the adult market, and trying to make both groups happy. Now, I will say this. If you were a kid watching this episode, you were probably really bored. And maybe even a little bit scared at times. It was pretty creepy when Ezra's like going off on his own in the desert, and he gets ambushed by the sand people, and then he keeps hearing Darth Maul's voice. It must have been creepy for some kids. And just kind of slow pace too. And also a lot of the deeper themes, like when Obi-Wan starts talking to Ezra, kids aren't going to know what the hell's going on. They're not going to understand all this Jedi wisdom and logic that Obi-Wan is trying to impart in Ezra. There's a lot of deep themes going on underneath this episode, guys. And here's a major spoiler incoming. This almost kind of makes me, obviously, look, I'm a gamer. I like action. I always like to, I'm a gamer. I enjoy really awesome action and fighting and that kind of thing. So for me, seeing that fight, honestly, I really don't know what to think yet. Because on one end, it was really, really nice how it tied everything up and how it's connecting to the original trilogy, and just kind of how these are two super, super old, aged people, and we've seen them duke it out in every ridiculous fashion beforehand too. We've already seen them fight so many goddamn times, and if you count all the times in Clone Wars and you count Episode 1, we've seen these guys fight a lot. And Maul in general, we've seen him fight a lot because it was an ongoing joke. He's like a goddamn cockroach. He will not die. He's been around for so long. They can't kill him. And I'm glad they kind of put him to rest. Almost, his life has been so chaotic and so crazy. Every single thing that he's been through and the Emperor's put him through. It was interesting to see him go out in such a subtle and quiet way. You know what I'm saying? Now, getting back to the point of it, this is my favorite part of the entire episode, guys. I thought this was really beautifully done. First of all, when the way Obi-Wan kills Maul, if you watch closely, it's so similar to how Maul and Qui-Gon dueled. If you watch closely the move that Maul tries to do on Obi-Wan, it's the same exact move that he tried to do on Qui-Gon, but Obi-Wan super pro status, handled it like nothing in a split second. That little combo that Maul tried to do on Qui-Gon, where he hit Qui-Gon in the chin with his lightsaber, and then stabbed him in the chest or the stomach. He tried to do that trick to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan just quickly parried it. And you would think, why would Maul try and do that move on the guy that, that this doesn't make sense to me. It's this is they kind of did this to be artistic, I think, where they tried to make it seem oh, look, it's Obi-Wan not making the same mistake his master made by deflecting that move. But it's if anyone knows what that combo looks like, and if anyone has replayed that combo in his head 1,000 times, it's Obi-Wan. He watched Qui-Gon get killed with that trick. So it's why the hell? And he watched Qui-Gon get killed with that trick. So he must have replayed that moment in his head a gajillion times. And then Maul comes, and Maul's no idiot. Look, he was able to make the whole Mandalore uprising. Look at what he was able to accomplish. He's unstable, yeah, but he's definitely not stupid. And he goes and he tries to do the same combo that Obi-Wan saw Qui-Gon get killed with Obi-Wan's probably the only person that has seen that combo happen. You know what I'm saying? And that's the first move that Maul takes out of his pocket to use on Obi-Wan. So obviously Obi-Wan's going to know how to counter it. He's like seen it, you know? So that part was a little bit them just trying to be artistic, in my opinion, trying to show that, oh, look, Obi-Wan is not making the same mistake that his master made. Okay, fine. But what came after it almost redeems everything. It was really cool to see when Darth Maul is dying. Obi-Wan is holding him, just like how he held Qui-Gon when he was dying. He's holding Darth Maul. And before this, Maul was kind of prying Obi-Wan for information. He was trying to find out what Obi-Wan was doing on Tatooine. And he asked him, you know, are you protecting someone? Wait, what are you doing here? You know, like, are you just, you know, you wouldn't be here for no purpose. You have a purpose here. And then he finds that you're protecting something or someone. And then he figures out. He kind of, you know, like I said, Maul's not stupid. He quickly figured out, like, really fast, what Obi-Wan was doing on Tatooine. He's protecting someone. And then, so as he's dying in Obi-Wan's arms, you hear him ask Obi-Wan, and he's not like pissed off or anything, he's just dying quietly, and he's like, is he the chosen one? He's asking Obi-Wan. Now, we're assuming he's asking Obi-Wan. There's two ways this could have gone, and you guys can discuss in the comments which one you think it is. He's asked, is he the chosen one? Is he asking Obi-Wan, is the guy that he's protecting the chosen one, or is Darth Vader the chosen one? Because you remember, Darth Maul knows about Darth Vader, obviously, and he got super scared in the first episode. We saw Darth Maul in Rebels when he heard that Darth Vader was coming. Darth Maul's obviously scared of Darth Vader. But I think it's probably he's asking him about the guy that he's protecting. Is he the chosen? That's what I think. I think most people would agree. And then, so he asks Obi-Wan, tell me, is he the chosen one? We're assuming the guy Obi-Wan is protecting here on Tatooine. And Obi-Wan just tells him yes. And then Darth Maul says, he will avenge us. And it's just the most epic line ever, in my opinion. Because if you think about it, everything always comes back to how completely and totally the Emperor screwed over literally everyone in this universe. He's screwed over Maul so bad. He killed his brother. He killed his mom, Mother Talzin. He killed Savage Opress, his brother. He's the reason that Obi-Wan and Maul are fighting. He kind of manipulated Maul, turned him into a Sith, and sent him after Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. And that, like, completely ruined Maul's life. You know, Maul and Obi-Wan, like, don't like each other because of the Emperor. You know, the Emperor is the master puppeteer. He has played literally everyone. He played them over, like, the biggest, he's played people, like, worse than anyone ever, probably, the Emperor. I mean, he's the most manipulative person in the galaxy, and he played Maul and Obi-Wan and ruined both of their lives so much so beyond repair. He, you know, for Obi-Wan, Order 66, just annihilating all of Obi-Wan's Jedi, you know, his entire Jedi Order, everything Obi-Wan knows. He manipulated Darth Maul to kill, you know, he turned Darth Maul into the creature he is in many ways, and Darth Maul killed Obi-Wan's love interest in Clone Wars. Remember that? Darth Maul killed Duchess Satine. And forget everything else, the Emperor manipulated and turned Obi-Wan's basically brother, Anakin, to the dark side. And made him and Obi-Wan mortal enemies. So, the Emperor has really screwed over Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. That is what they both have completely in common, and it was so interesting. I don't think this ever occurred to anybody else, like how similar those two characters actually are. I don't think it's. I mean, obviously, it's probably occurred to some people, but it wasn't really drawn attention to in such a nice way until this episode. So finally, when we see, so Darth Maul tells him he will avenge us. First he asks him, Tell me, is he the chosen one? Obi-Wan tells him yes. And then Darth Maul says he will avenge us. So they both have that, glimmering hope. They both have that to hold on to, no matter how screwed up. Both the new hope for, this is going to sound so corny, the new hope for, Star Wars, the new hope for the galaxy, everything is the same new hope for Obi-Wan and for Darth Maul. They both have the same. They're both putting hope and faith in the same two characters from completely different alignments. Obi-Wan obviously light side, Darth Maul obviously dark side. Have 100% hope and need to have faith that Luke Skywalker, or maybe Darth Vader, maybe Anakin Skywalker, is going to take the Emperor out, because he has just screwed over everybody so badly. So it's just interesting. It's just such a, and so cool how everything ties together. How this completely dark side character with Darth Maul and completely light side character with Obi-Wan Kenobi both are placing their faith and their hope in either Luke or Anakin, more than likely Luke, to restore balance to the Force and get rid of the Emperor. So, yeah. And it was just interesting to see, too, while Darth Maul was never redeemed, he was never redeemed. He's bad to the bone, to the death, But he did seem a little bit at peace when he was dying. He didn't seem 100% as unstable as he was. He seemed slightly at peace. And his peace came out of seeing that he would get some sort of revenge on the Emperor. Oh, there's like hope. I'm still going to get my revenge. Even though I'm dying, I'm still going to get my revenge. But it was the realization of Maul that at the end of everything, he went through he couldn't overcome the revenge that he had inside. He couldn't overcome it. He had to go and take out Obi-Wan, even though it wasn't Obi-Wan's fault for his suffering. It was really the Emperor's fault and his own fault. But my point is that essentially, in Maul's death, he realized he didn't have a complete change of heart, but he realized that it wasn't Obi-Wan that was the problem. It was the Emperor that was the problem. You know what I'm saying? And he still wanted revenge, which is obviously like the Sith way or whatever. But he still he had that realization at his last moments that, I wasted my time going after Obi-Wan. I wasted my whole life seeking revenge on Obi-Wan when I should have been, focusing that energy on going after the Emperor probably. But in dying, I can have peace that there is someone that's going to take him out someday. So that's where his source of peace came from in dying. It's like eventually he's going to get some sort of revenge by the Emperor being taken out. So pretty damn poetic, guys, how everything got tied together like that. Now, getting onto the fight scene, obviously, and Disney kind of marketed it too, that it was going to be some epic showdown. But I think the showdown wasn't epic in the sense that it was fun to watch or cool to watch the fight. It was epic in the sense that obviously these two characters, for me at least, the epicness came with the dialogue between them and the emotions between them. And I don't know if that's enough. I don't know if it should have been a bigger fight, if I would have liked it more. Who knows, if it was rewritten. But I will say that I did like it, just because the dialogue for me, it really did it for me. Just to see all these threads come together. And probably after sleeping on it, I'll have a more coherent opinion on whether I'm in with this camp or that camp. I know there's going to be a massive divide. People that are going to hate this and people that are going to love this. But what I will say is, no one's right or wrong, guys. No one's right or wrong here. You can't... people that think that this is artistic and poetic and the greatest thing ever, you shouldn't be going after people that wanted more of an epic fight and telling them they're stupid and they don't understand, and people that thought that this was stupid and not artistic or not cool in any way. You shouldn't be going after people that thought, there's different opinions, guys. That's allowed. You can have different opinions. But I don't know my opinion yet. I'm not sure which camp I'm in yet. I'm just my head's kind of reeling from the dialogue and how everything was woven together. And I do think the episode was done in a very tasteful way. So forget the fight and everything. I think it was just done very tasteful before then, even. It was interesting to see Ezra going off on his own and kind of taking initiative, and then coming back and saying, "This is where I belong." You know, he's committed to the rebels. It was also interesting to see his journey in that, he's kind of looking for the quick solution. He wants the Empire gone. He wants to solve this problem ASAP. He's looking for the ace in the hole, and his mind has fixated on finding that solution. When the real answer is there is no quick fix to this. The galaxy is pretty much the way it is for a long time. It's going to take a lot of hard work and dedication to get it back to restore balance to the Force and put everything back the way it should be. But Ezra, as a young kid, he's young, rash. He wants a quick solution. He wants the easy way. He wants to find the solution that's going to solve everything. And his mind, Maul was able to use that and trick him into thinking that Obi-Wan was the quick fix. And while Obi-Wan in many ways is actually the fix, like, he wasn't wrong. Like, Obi-Wan does eventually send Luke on the path and make everything really start happening. But it doesn't work like that in life, guys. Ezra needs to, and he learned in this episode that his place, what his part, the role he plays in this story, in this, setting the galaxy right, is with his team there, with the Ghost and everything, and making everything happen on that end. He needs to let Obi-Wan do his own thing with Luke. He knows what he's doing, and stop looking for a quick fix and an easy solution, and just put in the work with the rebels and play his role. You know what I'm saying? That's what Ezra kind of has really matured after this episode and realized. Yeah, and this next episode should be insanely epic, guys. We're gonna have the Thrawn is going to corner them, and he's going to obliterate that rebel fleet because they're completely caught off guard. It's going to be really cool to see that happen, and it's going to kind of explain why we saw all those rebel ships, and this is the first time they came together in the episode before this, and they're going to quickly learn that that was a bad idea, and their best bet is to kind of stay separated, not conjoin, not to convey, not to what do you call it? They shouldn't be all joined together in one location. They should be spread out and then come together when the time is right, like they did in Rogue One. Stay spread out, and then when the time comes, everyone come together. But if they're gonna pick some planet and set up shop there with the whole massive fleet, like, the chances of that fleet surviving is not very high, because the Empire will find them and just crush them. So they're going to learn there. That's the lesson they're going to learn in the next episode, in my opinion. They're going to keep spread out from that point forward. Not much else to say, guys. It was a really, really interesting episode. It was interesting to see the Tusken Raiders. It was cool too. Like, I mean, the video gamer in me was watching the bullets that the Tusken Raiders were firing, and like those guns actually blew up that A-wing, and it's like, I don't know if they're taking it. I don't know what that is. I mean, playing Battlefront, I'm like, you can't do that really in Battlefront. I mean, the pulse rifle, yeah, you can. Cycler rifle, you could eventually kill a ship with enough bullets, I suppose, in Battlefront even. But it's not like a couple bullets from like some like crappy Sand People guns. It was kind of weird for me to see that. But hey, they did it in Force Awakens when Poe's X-Wing got blown up by those stormtroopers. So same thing. This video ended up being a lot longer than I thought. My gameplay was really short, so I'm just going to put like a picture of Darth Maul in the background and stuff for most of the video. But hopefully you guys enjoyed that Darth Maul gameplay. That was from Battlefront 2. What an awesome game. And Maul absolutely obliterates in that game. I hope we see him in Battlefront 3, guys. Let's just, well, I guess we can't now. I mean, unless they're going to do the prequels, then, or, like even like Rebels era or Clone Wars era, because Maul, now it's confirmed Maul's dead, so we're not going to be seeing him in any future stuff. They could go back and do old stuff about him, but not future stuff. Anyways, guys, yeah, so that's just my initial reaction to the episode. I really like that little exchange of dialogue between the characters, how they are so similar, actually. That was really interesting to see. Um, it would have been great if Maul had kind of seen the light and actually joined the rebels. That would have been cool to see, but it would also like kind of like ruined his character. Like he's such an ultimate badass, evil kind of character. No one wants to see him go good. You know, he's gonna go out bad. That's just who he is, man. But yeah, guys, discuss below. You know, did you like the ending? Did you hate the ending? You know, don't hate on each other, but just discuss. I mean, what going forward? Because this is honestly what a lot of the older audience and mature audience. Not saying that what's it called. This is a big critique that the prequels got and Star Wars in general. That it was becoming all about the flash and the fighting and the pizzazz and that kind of thing. And in Rogue One, a lot of people had that same commentary that was just all about the visuals and the fighting, and there wasn't substance behind that. So here's a gigantic 180 from that because they cut all of the flash and the fighting out of it and tried to really push what, in their opinion, was a lot of substance. So it's like a massive 180 from the direction that Star Wars has been taking. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. I mean, let's see how we feel tomorrow. But discuss in the comments. I want to hear you guys' opinions. I'm probably going to keep doing this. I'm going to probably keep commentating on these episodes of Star Wars Rebels. And I'll get more Battlefront gameplay probably to put in the background. Yeah, guys. Really fun to watch this episode. I think the next episode is going to be really epic to see. This is going to kind of be what's going to decide if we like Thrawn as a character or don't like him as a character. This season finale, it's going to really decide. Is Thrawn living up to the expanded universe or is he not? What happens in this next episode will be the definitive kind of decision, and it'll be really fun to watch a big space battle because, let's be honest, we all like that. Alright, guys. Again, be sure to rate, like, comment, subscribe if you did like this video, and discuss below. I want to hear what you guys have to think. Alright, guys. Have a good day.